All right, we're live. I'm going to give just a couple of minutes, maybe 1 minute, to make sure that we get everyone on here. All right, we have our live stream started. Just want to make sure the sound is working before we get going. Had some sound issues last time, so I'm just not going to mess around, making sure the sound is good. All right. We are going to jump in right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're about the 3 minute mark. So I'm going to make this 3 minute mark the time when we start this. It is 7 o'clock, time for the live stream tonight, where I'm going to talk about three things that changed my weight loss journey forever. And I want to keep this brief, to the point, really straightforward, and just share a bit about my story and my background. So, uh, you know, really there's three things, and I have a an iPad here actually providing light for me. Um, and there's three things that helped me change my weight loss journey forever. I mean, there's lots of things that all add up to help that make this happen, but there's three primary things that really changed things for me. And the first was finding a fitness program that really worked for me and that I loved. I was the kind of guy that, through my 20s, I felt myself starting to get a little bit fluffy, and I was concerned, and I didn't really know what to do about that. At the time, I had no idea how big of an influence nutrition was. Like, it's literally, it's all nutrition. Um, and a good amount of activity. But in my 20s, I just ate like garbage. And what I would try to do in order to change my weight gain problem was to try to run. I would run, and I would get into a habit where I would like run a mile a day for every day for a week or two. And then I add it up, like make 2 miles a day, then 3 miles a day, then 4 miles every few days, then 5 miles like every third day. And it was really great for like anxiety relief. I found running to be incredible to help me feel like I'm accomplishing something. Um, and hoping that it would work and help with my weight loss. And I did this well into my 30s as well. I just thought, man, I if I could just work out more, if I ran more miles, I would get thinner. I just figured that was the math. It wasn't about how many beers I was drinking. It wasn't about, how many pizzas I was eating, how much ice cream I ate. I would just outwork it. I would just work out a lot. And even through my 30s, there was probably 5, 6 years there, maybe 32 through 38, where I ran consistently 4 to 5 times a week. And I would run anywhere from 5 to 8 miles, depending on kind of the time of year. I ran more in the summer, a little less in the winter. But, you know, not a lot of you know that I played poker for 2 years in Las Vegas. I just played poker, and I would even run there, just trying to not gain weight. I was just trying to not gain weight by running. And it wasn't until I was 38 years old, my sister-in-law at the time, she recommended, she's like, Jason, you've got to come try this CrossFit class. And she'd been doing CrossFit for years. She drank the Kool-Aid and loved it. And I was just like, I don't need a class. I don't need to do a group class. I don't need these types of workouts. I run. This is what I do. And honestly, my dad run. My dad ran for years, and probably about 60 years old when he stopped running. He ran every day. So I just assumed that that's what you do. I didn't know anything different. So I ran and I ran and I ran. And I agreed to go to this damn CrossFit class. I wasn't excited about it. And I went there, and the workout was great. Like, I absolutely loved it. And if you follow my workout programs, they do have a CrossFit uh, base to them. Obviously, it's part of the core of who I am. But I jumped into this CrossFit class, and in the first class, it was something like power cleans and burpees. And I didn't know how to do power cleans. I barely knew how to do burpees. It was a really simple workout of like, I don't know, 20 power cleans, 20 burpees for 3 rounds. Really simple stuff there. But if you know anything about CrossFit, you know that that is a destructive and painful workout. In fact, I only did 2 rounds. The coach came by and was like, dude, you only need to do 2 rounds. And I was like, nah, I'll do 3. I'll be fine. I stopped at 2 rounds, dying, absolutely dying. Um, and there was a woman next to me who finished the workout, and I thought she was a little bit bigger. I wasn't really paying attention more to my periphery, and she was bigger because she was pregnant with twins, and she destroyed me in this workout. I love telling that story because, like, when you start doing something like that, like a functional fitness, a high intensity style of workout that really gets your whole body involved, you literally have no idea how much it's going to punch you in the face until you do it. And once you do it, you're like, oh my God, I had no idea. Like, I think about the guys that do my Ditch the Dad Bod Challenge. And if they don't work out, I have 30 body weight workouts for them to do through the challenge. And the first workout is very simple. It's a burpee, it's a sit up, it's a push up and a jumping jack, some sort of mix of that. And they do that 50 times, 50 rounds of these 4 movements. And almost all of them look at that and they have no idea how crushed they're going to be at the end when they do this style of fitness. And a lot of them are like, wow, I had no idea. And I kind of liked it. And that was literally me. I tried for so many years to find something that I liked, something that stuck. I did bench. I would go to the like health club. I'd do bench. I'd do squats, kind of. Um, I don't know. I'd do some machines, but none of that lasted. Nothing stuck until I found a program that had, a full body workout. It also had a little bit of a competitive environment, and I'm just a competitive person, so it worked for me. I looked around at this CrossFit gym, and these were all like middle-aged people, maybe a couple of like young 20-year-olds here and there, but it was mostly middle-aged people. A lot of them were like even thicker than me, and they were so much fitter than me, so much better at moving, so much better at CrossFit than me. So that, I mean, if you know anything about me, if I find out that someone's better than me at something, I have to fix that. I have to figure that out. So all that to say that you don't have to jump into a CrossFit class. You don't have to buy one of my workout programs. You just need to find something that makes you happy, something that that makes you feel fulfilled in a workout. You have to be active. You got to be active. That is a part of your weight loss journey. You know, I was just talking with one of my performance coaching clients last night. So I help guys that are looking to be elite athletes. Um, and make it to the CrossFit Games and possibly do well at the CrossFit Games. I share them some of the things that I've done outside of working out that make a big, big difference. And I was talking with this guy last night, who's one of my clients, and it was about this idea that um, if you pair um, something you don't really want to do with something that you really enjoy. It makes that task you don't necessarily want to do a lot easier. So, for example, if you don't jump into a CrossFit class and love that little bit of competition and that full body workout, that's fine. Maybe your thing is that you spend 45 minutes walking fast on a treadmill, and you wouldn't believe it. Like walking fast is almost better than running, guys. We could talk about that a different time. But let's say you want to jump on the treadmill and walk 45 minutes every day at a solid speed. You really want to get a good sweat on by walking on the treadmill, but it's just kind of monotonous and awful unless you just love walking on a treadmill. Maybe you take a walk outside, that's fine. But if you pair that with something you love, like maybe the only time you get to listen to your favorite podcast is when you're doing this particular exercise. Or maybe it's one of the workouts that I have. It's you can only listen to your favorite podcast when you're doing that. Therefore, you pair this thing you love with something that's kind of hard, right? But your brain sort of gets into that, and that's another way to find a fitness routine that you just love. It's something that's worked. On Thursdays, I ride my Concept 2 bike, or I go on a bike ride as part of my active recovery, and I work really hard on that bike. It's not super enjoyable, but it's just a time when I can like just watch YouTube videos. What's the YouTube video I love to watch? Oh, Impractical Jokers. All right, so I really love the show. If you know Impractical Jokers, it's just funny. It's a bunch of guys just doing things, and I love it. And I will watch that show when I'm doing my really hard bike ride on a Thursday. And it just makes my life great. So that's number one. Find a fitness routine that you love. Number two, mm, get something down there. Number two, eliminate binge snacking from your life. So that means that you have to do some behavioral replacement. And I'm going to be really quick on this. One of the things that I used to do is I used to binge on like Doritos. And binging on Doritos is not like binging on carrots or broccoli or celery or something like that. Like Doritos, if you ever toss a Dorito in the fire, that thing lights up, and you could start a fire with a Dorito if you need it. There's enough fat and carbohydrates and sugars in that that just makes it an awful, awful thing. It's densely caloric. It Cheez-Its. I was talking with one of my nutrition clients the other day about how amazing Cheez-Its are. I mean, I've taken boxes of Cheez-Its to the couch, boxes or bags of Cheetos, bags of Doritos, um, huge, huge bowls of ice cream. That's not going to work. We can't do that. Now, binge snacking is different than having a snack. I have a post that's going out on Instagram tomorrow where you can snack and you can enjoy things. Like that's totally fine if you do that. You just have to plan for that. You have to budget for that. The question is, do I ever eat pizza? Rarely, rarely, and that'll be part of number three, tip number three. But every once in a while, I do have pizza, but I plan ahead for that. Like I had pizza this summer at my niece's birthday party. They have the best pizza. It is just the most delicious thing on the planet. It's like this New York pizza. It's ridiculously good. But I plan for that, and I know that because pizza is going to be high in fat, high in carbohydrates, it's going to be grain based. Lots of calories right there. I'm actually going to borrow from my breakfast calories and my breakfast fats, my breakfast carbs, same for lunch, and have some pizza later so that I'm not over indulgent on my calories for the day, on my fats, proteins, carbs. I'm not overdoing it by having pizza. Another thing that I'll do in that particular situation is I'll actually eat a small meal before I go. So I'll eat a meal that's like a chicken breast and broccoli to give me that sensation of fullness before I get there. So I don't just eat like 5 pieces of pizza, that I don't just overindulge that situation. Do I ever have ice cream? Sure, I have ice cream. I'm a CrossFit Games champion. And yes, I eat ice cream. Now, I used to have a problem. I used to eat ice cream every night, every night. And I had to get out of that. That was a binge eating situation. I literally had to break the habit. And I talked about breaking habits in my last live video where I talked about how I quit chewing tobacco. I talked about how I quit eating ice cream, how I quit eating Doritos, how I quit drinking. 3 glasses of wine every night, how I quit chewing tobacco. You can look at that video for that. It's really fun stuff there about behavior replacement with that kind of stuff. But for now, um, I don't binge eat ice cream. But if I am going to have ice cream, particularly with like my boys or something like that, I'm going to plan ahead for that. Again, I'm going to borrow carbohydrates and fats from other meals so that I can enjoy this ice cream. And I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to have a great time with it, have a great time with the boys. I'm going to live my life a bit, but I'm not going to eat half a gallon of ice cream. And I'm not going to do it with an empty stomach. I'm going to eat it after dinner so that I'm already satiated and I'm not going back because I'm hungry or I'm thirsty, which is a binge eating thing. So if you have a challenge with binge eating, number one, get rid of the stimulant. Like literally don't have Doritos in your house. Don't have ice cream. You need to take a break from that stuff before you re-engage it. Um, and if you do have snacks, this doesn't mean you have to eliminate everything. It just means that you have to budget for it. You have a caloric budget every day that you can work with. And ideally, you're filling that caloric budget with whole foods, foods that are filling, satiating, nutritious. That's what I do every day. We could get the same amount of calories with 2 bags of Doritos and a bowl of ice and a half gallon of ice cream. That would give me all the calories I need in a day, but I'm going to be starving all day if I do that. So eat all this regular food and good food. You're going to feel full and satiated. Don't have snacks around. If you do get snacky, find things that are easy to grab. Grab carrots that are really easy. Worst case, grab some rice cakes. Like 2 rice cakes actually help me hit my carbohydrate goals for the day, and they're delicious. A little salt or little caramel ones, like they're 50 calories each. I can have like 2 or 3 of those, and I've helped get the carbohydrates I need in that day and satiated my snacking appetite. So eliminate binge snacking, obviously. I know that's an obvious one, but that was something I had to get rid of for me. I just can't have it. And for a while, I couldn't have ice cream in the house. I couldn't have Doritos because I could not resist that stuff. Now I'm over that, and I'll choose to have fun things from time to time. All right. The number one thing for changing my weight loss journey forever was removing grains, all grains from my diet completely. And this was something I did in 2017. I didn't qualify for the CrossFit Games. It's not all about qualifying for the CrossFit Games, it's about being a healthy individual. But this is my story. I didn't qualify for the CrossFit Games in 2017, and I was upset. I was overtraining, overworking, and undereating. And I started eating some more food, started training a little bit less and getting that under control to make sure I was training appropriately, not overtraining. And the summer of 2017, I read a book called Wheat Belly and a follow-up book by the same author called Undoctored. And it convinced me 100% that today's grain-based products, whether it's cereal, pasta, bread, oats, beer, um, Cheez-Its, Doritos, chips, tortilla chips, corn tortillas, flour tortillas. All of these things are all grain based. And it turns out that grain actually can have some really negative effects on the body. It can mess with our hormonal system. It can cause inflammation and water retention. Grains, our processed grains that we eat today, are densely caloric, super, super dense. So if you take a look at like how many calories, how many carbohydrates are in a piece of bread or a bagel or an English muffin or in a serving of chips, look at what an actual serving of chips are, or a bowl of Lucky Charms, or Honey Nut Cheerios, which have the same amount of calories and the same amount of sugar per cup. Um, Pay attention to that stuff because it's a caloric density that is the problem with grains, among other things. So the way I do things, guys, is I just go all in. When I started CrossFit, I went all in. When I decided I want to become competitive, I went all in. When I decided I wanted to open a gym, I went all in. These are my things. And I decided I'm not eating grain and I went all in with it. So I didn't eat grain for over a year. No rice, no bread type things at all ever. And I replaced all of that with fruits and vegetables for carbohydrates. And I had an in-body scanner, a body fat tester, just a fancy machine at the CrossFit gym at the time. I started at about 14.5% body fat. And I didn't change anything else. I removed grain from my diet and I started eating sweet potatoes with my breakfast instead of toast. I started eating sweet potatoes uh, for lunch with my chicken instead of some sort of bread. I stopped eating lasagna and spaghetti all the time and so much pizza. All of those change exited my life completely. No more bagels, no more beer. Literally did not drink a beer for 18 months. And my body fat percentage went from 14 to 9.5. Now, that's an extreme swing. So it was literally like 2.5 months and I was at a 9.5% body fat. I was too thin. That's thinner than I want to be. And I didn't realize it at the time. It was the beginning of 2018. I actually ended up qualifying for the CrossFit Games and I started paying attention to or evaluating what my actual need was from a nutrition standpoint. What do I need to perform my best to achieve my goals as an athlete? Um, and it turns out I was dramatically under eating. So I had to eat more food. And that food had to come in the form of like fruits and vegetables, meats, um, and and nuts and seeds and all those things without any grain, without starches and grains and sugars and all that kind of. Actually, I had starches and potatoes, but without grains and sugars, it was very hard to hit my. I had to eat a lot of food, 3,500 calories a day for a guy like me. That's a lot of fruit and vegetables, and I was full all the time. But man, my performance took off through the roof. I felt strong. I felt energized. I didn't have bloating. I wasn't retaining water. Like heartburn went away. Like all of these things from removing grain from my life. Is that for everybody? I don't know. I don't know. It's not for everybody, but it's a good experiment. It's a really interesting experiment when you remove grain and you have to replace that densely caloric food intake with actual real whole foods like fruits and vegetables. From a carb standpoint, man, you're eating a lot of potatoes, sweet potatoes, white potatoes, totally fine, doesn't matter. You're eating a lot of fruit, like bananas and apples enter my life again, strawberries, berries, raspberries, blackberries, anything I can get, carrots, the most carb dense vegetables, which there's just not that many carb dense vegetables, but all entered my life. And I was eating and I was satiated and I was full and I felt good. And for me, that made my weight loss change easy, made it so easy and made it permanent. Literally removing grain took this super simple caloric source out of my life. Now I have to work to get enough calories every day. And this is something that I actually do with almost all of my nutrition clients. I help them craft a correct nutrition plan for them. Like whether they're looking to lose like 20 or 40 pounds, male or female, it doesn't matter, or they're literally looking to lose a couple of pounds and maybe gain a competitive advantage, to compete in their local CrossFit competition or to qualify for the CrossFit Games. This is all a nutrition component, and almost all my clients do remove grain just to see how their bodies respond. And in replacing the grain with whole foods, wow, it's a huge difference for them. They lean out fast, especially the ones that need to lose 20 to 40 pounds. They lean out fast without starving, feeling full, feeling satiated, and eating incredible meals. I provide nutrition, like I provide recipes and all that stuff so that they can get everything that they need. They don't have to like figure out what kind of meals to have. So I do help them do that. I guess I'm pitching that a little bit. You can connect with my nutrition plan simply by like leaving a comment below, shooting me a direct message. However you want to reach out to me. We'll schedule a call just to find out what you're looking for specifically and determine if a nutrition plan or nutrition coaching with me makes the most sense. But going back to this idea of removing grain. Now, that was 2017, removed grain. 2018, no grain. Towards the beginning of 2019, I was tired of sweet potatoes and trying to fight to get all of the carbohydrates that I needed for my training. I just got tired of some of the same stuff. But that was after 18 months, guys. That was 18 months without grains, not a beer, not a drop of grain. And I started to open myself up to a supplement. And I think of a carb supplement. And I'm going to tell you the carb supplement that I do like, I do approve of, but only after you've gotten off of grain for a couple of months and you've really acclimated to that, and your body is acclimated to that. But one of the carbohydrate supplements that I use is rice, white rice. I actually use jasmine rice because it's delicious, but white rice. And the reason I use white rice, not brown rice, is that white rice has this uh, it has this um, shell on it. I'm sorry, white rice is totally. Sorry, I was looking at my screen there. Yeah, thank you to Pato the trick. Thank you. Yeah, he shared with me. I just thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Getting back to this, white rice has all of the grain proteins removed. The shell is removed. All of it. It's literally pure starch. Hardly any, if any, grain proteins are left in rice. And I use rice as a supplement. I can't get enough carbohydrates down into my system every day to hit my personal nutrition goals. I try to eat as many fruits and vegetables as possible to hit those numbers. But that's when we supplement with white rice to help achieve that total load, right? That total amount that I need. I do the same thing with protein. Like I can't eat enough chicken and egg whites and meat and vegetable proteins in order to hit my protein goals every day. I mean, I could, but I literally get tired of eating that much. So I use protein powder for one or two shakes to help me supplement to get enough protein into my life. But it's just a supplement. That's what I think of white rice. I don't just make a bowl of white rice and just mow it down. I am trying to use that as part of my overall intake to hit my specific goals. And that may help for your specific goals. But that is it. Find a fitness routine that you love. If you need help doing that, reach out to me. I'll help you find one. If it's with me, great. If it's not with me, it's fine. Let's just find something that works for you. Eliminate snacking, binge snacking from your life. And if you need to understand how to do behavior replacement by replacing this binge behavior with another behavior, take a look at my live video that I did about a month ago on how I quit chewing tobacco, because this applies to all binge or addictive type quality eating, all kinds of things. Okay. And then third, remove all grains, remove them and give that a shot. Um, does that mean that from time to time I don't have a piece of toast? I had a piece of toast like 2 months ago, peanut butter toast, and it was amazing. Ah, it's so delicious. And it's delicious because it's a sugary, grainy amazingness. It's refined to be delicious. Um, I can't tell you the last time I've had a bagel, but I had an English muffin like 2 weeks ago with my breakfast, and it was just delicious and amazing. So um, yes, I will dabble in it, but I think of that as like a snack. It's just a snack. It's not part of what I do. If you want to hit your specific goals, losing 20 pounds, losing 40 pounds, performing at your absolute best as an athlete, you need to be precise 99.9% of the time. And that's what I do. And it helped me become a CrossFit Games champion twice and do really well there. It helps me keep this weight off. Like I don't even have to work at it now. I don't even think about it. I'm just this guy. If you've seen any picture of me, a lot of my pictures are without a shirt. That's just how I am. So I'd like to open it up for a couple of questions. If you have questions, ask them now. I don't want to go too long on the stream. We'll take 2, 3 minutes for questions unless we need to go longer. And I'll be happy to share. All right, let's see. Joe, thank you. He says, your programming is straightforward and exciting, and enjoy every minute of it. It's helped me to try to be a better dad, husband, and man. Dude, Joe, thank you, and thank you for being a part of the Ditch the Dad Bod Challenge. Absolutely great, dude. The workouts are fun, and I agree. I like doing them. They are fun. They're surprising. They're never boring. You never know really what to expect. You just need to expect to budget about a half hour, 45 minutes, warm up, workout, cool down, and you're good to go. Yeah. So I imagine Patrick losing 200 pounds. If you really need to lose 200 pounds, dude, it's doable. It's totally doable. And I'd love to help you. So reach out to me. Let's figure this out. You may be already on the journey, or maybe you've already lost it. I don't know. Wherever you're at, I'm happy to help. I'm gonna leave this open for one or two more questions. Good, dude. I'm glad you're on it. One of the questions that comes up often with my nutrition coaching clients is is there a best timing? A lot of people thought maybe one of my three uh, things that helped me change my weight loss journey forever would be intermittent fasting. That comes up a lot. Should we intermittent fast? And there are definitely some benefits to intermittent fasting, but really the idea, one of the biggest benefits, the biggest bang for the buck on intermittent fasting. This is where you don't eat during periods of the day and you eat during only a certain eating window in the day. For some people, a lot of people, it's like 16 hours of not eating and 8 hours of eating. So they only eat between, 12 noon and 8 p.m. And the benefit to that is it shrinks your feeding window. It's really hard to eat. I generally eat 4 meals a day. It's hard to eat that much food in 8 hours as opposed to something more like 12 or 15 hours a day, which is what I generally eat. So intermittent fasting can be helpful because it will shrink your eating window. You'll feel full longer during that time. And for some people, they don't even feel hungry till noon. So it's just kind of a nice strategy. Um, Another question that came up is, do I recommend cutting out grains all at once or a bit at a time? Uh, Aaron, that's a good question. I almost want to ask you, what would you do in that situation? It's a really good question. For me, I'm a rip the band-aid off kind of guy, but you can't. You have to have a plan. So I would say within 7 days, cut out grain. So start cutting it out of one meal on one day, and start cutting out through the other meals throughout a week. Maybe take 7 days to get grains out of your life, because what you need to do is figure out what are you replacing all of those calories with. Um, you can't just eat sweet potatoes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you have bread with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, swap out sweet potatoes for breakfast, maybe regular potatoes for lunch, and maybe you just do a lot of vegetables for dinner and maybe some fruit mixed in there to replace those calories. I literally on a Friday decided I'm not having grain, and on Saturday, and then for the next 18 months, I did not have grain. Uh, I thought it would be so much harder. For me, it was just no problem. So listen to yourself. If you can go cold turkey, go for it. You're literally, you just need to think about like replacing some of those calories. But if you plan to sort of wean yourself off for a week and just start to mix in other things, so that's a more prudent way of doing things and a little more sustainable. Let's see if I've got other questions here. Thank you, Thomas. Full marathon in January. Still need to lose another 100 pounds. Which program might would I recommend? Honestly, Thomas Carey, in the comments here, I would recommend, as far as losing the weight, I'd recommend a nutrition plan or nutrition coaching. We want to make sure that you're eating correctly. And with nutrition coaching, we can talk about that. I'd probably recommend one of my 12-week intensive workout programs, probably the body weight one. And when we pair that with nutrition coaching, I always, there's always a discount involved there. So we can talk about that. But that 12-week body weight program will give you 12 weeks of body weight workouts that they'll just be so much fun. You will love them. They will build up your endurance, your ability to move well. And if you pair that with training for a marathon, which is absolutely awesome, and you're literally doing that in January, let's get that diet in check. Make sure you're actually getting enough food for the amount of training that you're doing, even while you're losing weight. So hit me up. Let's talk about nutrition coaching and possibly a body weight program to create an overall level of fitness for you. Looking at the questions, how do I track my macros? Write it down or use an app? Great question. I track my macros with MyFitnessPal. I found it to be just the simplest app. There's no perfect app, actually. I've tried multiple apps, and I've always gone back to MyFitnessPal. I pay the premium amount. I think it's $60 a year, maybe more or less than that, but I just pay the yearly amount so that I can put my own macros in there, exactly what I need, which is around 210 grams of protein, 310 grams of carbohydrates, 140 to 150 grams of fat, something like that. I have it in there. It's literally on my phone. Um, but I put that in there and I eat that every day. Workout day, rest day, recovery day, training, doesn't matter. I hit those macro numbers every day. I use MyFitnessPal because it just has the largest database, but I do have to pay attention. You can't just select the food and make sure it's the right food, cooked, uncooked. Is it the right label? Is this the right serving? Is it the right quantity? Is it in ounces, grams? Just once you get into it, you'll get it. But I do use an app to do that. I try to do everything electronically. Because I just don't follow through if I use something on paper. Let's see. Rory says, "Thank you, brother. The recipes that I provide with nutrition coaching, I do provide 150 recipes, and they are super helpful. So that part of removing all grains or eliminating binge snacking is that you have to eliminate friction. It's really easy for me to walk to that cabinet and grab a bag of chips. It's really easy for me to throw a pizza in the oven. And so you need recipes that are really easy to eat healthy food, like 5-minute recipes to help you make something that's totally nutritious, totally satiating, but is better than a pizza. And so that's what those are. Rory, thank you for that, buddy. Intermittent fasting, I did just talk about that. Art, you're welcome. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Thomas. And good. All right, good. Patrick, thanks for sharing. Thank you guys for tuning in at 35 minutes. I just want to cap this here at 35 minutes. Don't want to go too long, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. Uh, I appreciate you dealing with my light situation. I have an iPad here. This is all the light that I have on me. In the RV, these are LED lights and they actually flicker when I have a camera on. So it's a little weird. The camera shutter makes a flicker. Um, from this point, if you would like to get in on my nutrition coaching program, shoot me a message. Tell me that you watched this video specifically, and you will get a discount code emailed to you from me. I'm happy to share that with you, but you have to tell me that you are ready to get going. You watch this video, and I'll give you a discount that'll be absolutely worth that email, and we'll get started. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the questions and the engagement. If you found this helpful, definitely subscribe to my channel, click the like button, share this with your friends, share this with somebody you think this could be helpful for. I just want to help uh, dudes feel great. That's what I want to do. Achieve those goals, lose weight if necessary, achieve your greatest dreams, whatever that might look like. All right, guys, see you for the next one. We've got another live stream coming soon.